This is an important one.
Where the design of voting rights is so fundamentally flawed. Though it is held up as a model of federalism, in fact, it is anything but. It is a clear way of the union government to do whatever they want using this council as a rubber stamp. Let me give you some examples. 100% of the agenda of the council is decided by the union government, not in any consultation with other states. Major decisions about whether to continue compensation are decided wholly by the union government. All the difficult decisions that the union government doesn't want to take responsibility for, it gets shifted down as if it's a council decision. Now, what happens in the council? The system says 75% positive vote is required for some resolution to pass. But the union government has 33% of the vote. That means any resolution brought by anybody, if the union government says no, it's dead on arrival. What about the remaining 66%? In this uniquely inexplicable design of one state, one vote, the remaining 66% is split about 2% per state for the 31 states. Now, what does that mean? A state that pays 0.00001% of the total taxation, like total tax revenues, like Arunachal Pradesh, or 0.5% like Goa, and a state that pays like 12% or 11% like Tamil Nadu, all get to have equal vote. What does this mean in effect? Every time the union wants to raise the taxes, all the net beneficiary states who pay almost nothing and get all of the upside will vote yes. And the few states like us, we'd have to get 12 similar states who are willing to stand up, have the courage to vote independent of the BJP leadership's diktat, but really for the people themselves. No BJP chief minister has the capacity, or no BJP minister has the capacity to vote for the sake of the people, independent of the diktat of the union leadership. Therefore, the odds of ever opposing successfully a union resolution is close to zero, if not exactly zero. Under these circumstances, trying to force a vote on one of 56 items, on one of 20 agenda items, in the middle of a day and a half GST Council is an exercise in futility. No matter what we do, we cannot win that battle. Therefore, for the sake of getting through so many items in such little time and having the capacity to talk about compensation, etc., the whole package was accepted as is. But this just goes to show you that this is not a federal structure. It is a backdoor control of the union government. It is designed to be that way.
So, tell me, why is this argument not being discussed enough?
Yeah, so that baffles me as well as to why we are not discussing this and why there's not much public education on what the actual framework and how GST works. First things first, Kushal, I don't think there's anything that PTR said which is untrue. Okay, the statements by themselves, each of them factually is correct, but there are two things. One, that's not the whole truth, and second, there's a context to it which is missing. So I'll add those two, and then we will discuss, where we are on this, etc. So PTR says 75% votes are needed. Yes, 75% votes are needed to get through. All of these are in the constitution, mind you, not in any statute or procedure of the central government or the state government or whatever. The constitution of the GST Council itself, which is the FM union finance minister being the chairperson of the GST Council, and all the 31 states having their finance or revenue minister or any other minister that the state can identify and send to be the member of the GST Council. All decisions to be taken by the GST Council has to have 75% vote for us to get through. The way the constitution has, framed this is 33% of the vote is with central government and 66% is with the remaining states, like PTR said. So if today something is being put for vote, if the central government votes against it, then there's no way it can get through because they won't get to 75%. That's the point that he's trying to make. And states, yes, they can vote and they can get. The central government could abstain and then it becomes complex calculation, etc. But then technically when he says what he says, it is correct, which is the center will have or can have a veto. Now, firstly, yes, it is, we are, not getting into the point on union of states and things like that, but we are a federal structure. There is a central government which has certain powers, and therefore some government needs to have its neck on the line on some of these decision making. So to that extent, I'm not fully against the fact that there is somebody who has a veto, and it's no less than somebody who's in the center, whom all of us have voted, and they're sitting there. Whether you like them or not is secondary. What is missing in PTR's video? One is, how many times have we voted? Any guesses, Kushal? When did we vote first? And he made it look like every GST Council meeting there's a voting and then you can't vote and things like that.
I have
We
no
voted.
clue.
Yeah.
I will plead ignorance because I genuinely don't follow these.
So, most people will not know this, and that's the reason. We've just finished a 55th meeting. The first time we ever voted was the 39th meeting. 38 GST Council meetings went without voting ever being done. So whether the center has 33%, center has the powers, yes, technically they have. Yes, for academic reasons, yes, they can stop a thing. So how is it working then? This is something that Arun Jaitley had also said, to say that most of the decisions that we would want to take, ideally as a tradition, we would want it to be consensus. The first time, and people can look up the 39th GST Council meeting minutes. The minutes are available on the GST Council website. I really encourage people to go and read that. The 39th minutes actually say that the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman didn't want to depart from the tradition and conduct a vote. The Finance Minister of Kerala insisted on a vote being done on an issue of whether there should be a single rate for non-state government run lotteries, which is state approved but not state government run lotteries, which are taxed at 28%. Whether it should be a single rate of 28% across states, and should it be the same thing, is what was put for voting. And because Kerala insisted, the votes were, it was known that even if it was put for voting, what the result would be. The minutes actually document that the finance minister approved for a vote because there is a constitutional right for the requesting member, and therefore we are breaking away from the tradition and we are voting. Some 6 or 7 states, I don't remember, including Kerala, voted against it. But 6 or 7 voting doesn't mean anything when you're when a decision making is the way it was on that lottery issue, and because it was not of a significant consequence in terms of a large matter, it was whether lottery should be taxed at 28% or not. There was not much hue and cry made about the fact that they departed from tradition and voted. There was one other time, and I don't remember again. I think it was for gaming taxation or whatever, but again, nothing of significance that's there. So when PTR says that there is no way that this can be done, are there any decisions that the central government has pushed through by using the 33% vote to say, I don't care, I'm bulldozing this through? There's not been any, because very clearly all meetings at the end of the day are consensus. There could be some dissent by some states on some of the things, but the decisions have been taken without voting, with consensus. What have they been doing? And which is where I have a significant problem personally. I don't think the GST Council has been that effective, because what they were supposed to do is to protect our federal structure. And according to me, can BJP push through and do some of these things? They could, but they're working on getting to a consensus, which is where I think the whole way the GST Council is working has sort of completely gone into our normal bureaucratic way of decision making. Now there's a fitment committee. If you heard the finance minister at the beginning of the clip that you played, she said there's a fitment committee. So a fitment committee is a committee set up within the GST Council, which has the revenue officials, the indirect tax officials, 9 or 7 state and 9 or 7 center. I don't remember the exact numbers. All the states have, I think it's 9, but the top 9 states, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra, a lot of these revenue officials are there. They are the ones who sit and decide on this popcorn, for example. The fitment committee comes to the GST Council to say, this is what we recommend, that you do it at 80%, or you clarify that this will go into this classification, etc. Now, then it is decided at the GST Council, not by putting to a vote. I'm talking of tradition. I'm not talking of what is in the law. So that's insofar as voting goes. The second point, which is important, which PTR touched upon, is to say that the 66% of the state is split between all states, irrespective of what they contribute. Some small state can also vote against of war, etc. What is the solution there? Can we link it to the state, GSP, their tax collections? How do we do that? And what state collection do you take? The previous year? And what happens to states which have done well? Do you take it on population? Then what happens to states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, etc., which are not? Do you take it on per capita? Per capita, you'll be amazed. The GST collection per capita highest is Haryana. Because of Gurgaon and other things, the population is low, but there's a huge collection. Per capita, one of the highest is Haryana. State collection, it could be Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, or Gujarat, so 4 of the top states. You can't do a weighted average based on tax collection. So they have kept it simple to say each state has 1 vote, rather than saying we will do a weighted average based on population, based on income levels, based on tax collections, etc. I think that's a slippery slope, best avoided. So I don't think we should be recasting, in my personal view, the votes from one state, one vote. Because tomorrow somebody can come back and say, because we are a small state like Goa, and where most of the things that they are looking at is either, their tourism, etc., is not something that generates as much as GST as some other activities would. I don't think they should be worse off than if one state, one vote is where we are. So these are 2 aspects which PTR doesn't cover, which has there been a voting? Has the central government bulldozed any decisions through? The answer is no. And on states, I don't think we have any other option but to give one state, one vote.
Yeah, honestly, how do I actually agree with you, because in fact, when it comes to the Lok Sabha delimitation exercise, these are the same states that are complaining, oh, why does Uttar Pradesh get extra Lok Sabha? I mean, come on, yeah. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You argue one argument, one case, and the other argument you change. Like you do a total 180 on the other case. Like, when I was listening to it, I was thinking about the whole delimitation argument. I was like, yeah, there is no philosophical consistency here.